Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Elephant Exposed. I am your host, Mr. TNTBS, or CJ Jones. Um, First of all, before I get into this thing, I just want to say that I am extremely humbled and I am very thankful and grateful that the last update that we just did concerning Rkelly, the update to Rkelly Rico case has gone over very, very well. And with that being said, we're just going to go ahead and just get straight into it because there's a little bit more to that update. So this will be something like a update extension to what we had just did. So if you've missed the first update, um, it's going to pick up from what we did just on the other evening. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it, guys. All right, so here we go.
The appearance of these girls would be evidence enough, wouldn't it?
These were not 12-year-olds. These were not 13-year-olds. There were some what was testified to is that some of them looked young. And having, multiple teenagers myself, looking young does not mean you know someone is a minor.
I'm gonna do that one more time because that was awesome. And by the way, big shout out to HN. What is your say? That's the name of this show, this platform. This person has been so dedicated and just have been so awesome with following the case of Rkelly. And you guys need to just really just check out the tremendous work that they have done. And that's why I'm able to do this reaction to their update. So big shout out again to HN Newsroom, HN What's Your Say? So I'm just gonna back it up just a little bit more to get that one little soundbite in.
Well, the appearance of these girls would be evidence enough, wouldn't it?
These were not 12-year-olds. These were not 13-year-olds. There were some what was testified to is that some of them looked young. And having, multiple teenagers myself, looking young does not mean you know someone is a minor.
Amen.
You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring Rkelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. During the New York appeal, Rkelly's lead attorney Jennifer Bonjean left no stone unturned during her attempt to make the appeal judges understand why she believes Rkelly was wrongfully convicted when it comes to certain counts such as Rico violation, Mann Act charges and the infamous forced labor claims which have never been explained. While she explained her Rico theory which completely differs from that of government and the Brooklyn trial judge Ann Donnelly, she outlined a number of points which hold so much water, and also referred to previous cases handled by the same justice system differently from this particular case against Rkelly. And this shows just how petty our system can get to change their line of judgment just so they can lock up a single American citizen for life.
And y'all know I just covered that just on the last video. I was saying pretty much the same thing. Now, we are watching this together for the very first time. So I did not get a chance to go and look at this previous. So my reactions and everything is going to be extremely raw and very genuine. So just sit tight because we all going to be surprised with whatever's going to be said. Okay.
The court cannot continue to contradict itself, Bonjean insisted. If in the Boyle versus the United States of America case, the element of a common illegal purpose was regarded important by the Supreme Court, why would the same court now try to rubbish it when defendant is Rkelly? Without repeating much of what we already discussed in our previous video release, we can't deny the New York appeal process was punctuated with plenty of drama, as one of the judges raised rather interesting questions that did not only interrupt Bonjean's submission, but also left listeners baffled as to why he would even think and argue this way.
Oh, and that's another thing. When judges do that, when attorneys do that in general, that's a distraction tactic because they know and they realize that whoever is the whoever is making their point, they don't want for you they don't want for that point to be made because their job is to basically win the case or keep the case from or harming the case in whatever way that they can. So when it's a judge versus an attorney, and then you got the judge that's coming across as like how they just said it, as almost it seemed like he was already prepared to just throw all kinds of opposing questions and just saying like just things to throw Attorney Bonjean off her game. And all of that is just distraction to water down the case. And that way, us as listeners, us as viewers, and even if there's other, if there's a panel of judges, or if there's a panel of jurors that's listening to her, they can't really just focus on because she's constantly being stepped on, and then she has to try to stop, listen, and pay attention to what the judge is saying, and then respond to that. All of those are just undercover sneaky tactics, but truth will come out. Truth will prevail, no matter how much you try to distract it, no matter what you try to do to delay it, it will come out. But let's continue.
At one point when Bonjean was arguing out the theory of the enterprise, suggesting that Rkelly's employees never participated in any criminal activity, and only featured on the transcript to have invited show attendants backstage and sourced some phone numbers without necessarily knowing what Rkelly did with these women in his own private space. In fact, they are also being accused for having continued to pack Rkelly's luggage on his behalf and book his travels and those of the people that accompanied him, which is not proper. When Bonjean mentioned that in fact there was nothing illegal with this, one of the appeal judges, who had been quite loud through the hearing, could not help but say Rkelly's employees should have seen that these were young women from the looks alone. To be precise, he used the words, but the appearance of these girls would have been evidence enough that they were underage.
No. Do you remember?
It's so baffling to look.
Do you remember in the previous video? And if you haven't watched it, I highly encourage you to go back and look at it. That was one of the first things that I addressed. When you're talking about a court of law, you cannot go by appearances, period. You can't. You can use it as a scale, but to use it as evidence, oh yeah, you look old, so you must be old. Oh, you look young, so you must be young. How you think we as a Black culture got so massively caught up in all these unnecessary incarcerations and so forth? Why? Because even at the age of, I think I had just turned 16, I was pulled over. Why? Because I looked young, too young. Everything, I mean, there's a difference between reasonable suspicion and actual probable cause. Now that's law enforcement. But even in a court of law, you can say, well, my spidey senses went off about whatever the case may be. But just going by someone's look, you have to still step cautious and be cautious, and or follow it up with necessary questions about whatever that got your senses uneased. So we're not buying what this judge is selling, okay, when we're talking about legalities. Okay, I'm gonna back it up just a little bit.
These girls would have been evidence enough that they were underage. It's so baffling to learn that a judge at appeal level would think the appearance of 17-year-olds going to 18 would be evidence enough to show any onlooker that they were indeed underage. In fact, some supporters and fans of Rkelly are challenging this appeal judge to an age identification test, where he be presented with a combination of 17 to 19-year-old females for him to identify those that are actually underage from those that are of age, for he would fail miserably. For him to have made such an argument while ignoring the importance of finding the evidence is only a sign of prejudice in the appeal court already. And this is the same prejudice that did exist in the trial court, where preponderance of evidence was used as an approach in determining a criminal case. The trial court jury and judge drifted off the evidence presented and opted to make assumptions, and to base their decisions on mere hearsay, forgetting that this was not a civil case being handled but a serious criminal matter. What the evidence says is that some women who came to attend Rkelly's show and danced on stage ended up backstage with Rkelly. There is nowhere where the evidence says, and then they declared they were underage. If anything, even when the age issue came up, they made sure to lie to Rkelly that they were 18 and over.
Of course they will.
And the same evidence also suggests many of these women, such as Lisa Van Allen and Faith Rogers, were 18 and over, even though Lisa attempted to lie she was 17 with the help of the government. I thought for any qualified judge, it would be always important to follow the evidence as is and not word of mouth, which can be easily reduced to hearsay. And this was the missing link between the two trials against Rkelly and the possibility of finding justice. If only the two juries had stuck to the evidence presented, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Today's discussion is not to in any way trivialize the role of the appeal judges in helping the attorneys present their arguments, or to make anyone think that all the judges were wrong in their opinions. In fact, the other two judges did do a great job in helping both the state attorney and Attorney Jennifer Bonjean outline their points clearly, and they were ready to have a conversation, which is the essence of the appeal process.
Okay.
But this particular judge who asked this disturbing question at instances kept repeating matters Bonjean had already explained in a way of challenging her intellect, something which did not sound so nice to the ears of those who were listening in. An example is when he kept on mentioning that Bonjean was not challenging the jury instruction, and therefore the decision of the court should stand. It sounded like he was already making a ruling even before the matter could go to deliberation, to allow the three judges to contemplate on the two presentations made by the opposing attorneys.
Because he was.
While his opinion was in fact welcome for discussion, he should have stuck to having a legal discussion and not attempting to challenge the defendant attorney in what sounded like utter prejudice. Another very disturbing fact is how some judges are always hesitant to refer to previous decisions taken by the same Department of Justice they work for. Decisions such as in Boyle versus the United States, which Bonjean kept referring to, yet it's such previous cases that are supposed to guide the department's future decisions. Remember, the same Department of Justice cannot be disagreeing with itself when the name of the defendant changes, since they all swear never to prejudice any individual based on their gender, race or religious beliefs.
That's right.
The judge should have therefore listened even more closely to her references to such previous decisions taken by court in order for him to learn more about what a Rico enterprise actually is.
Now, I'm not really deep to what us law enforcement officers, be us active, former, or whatever. I'm not really deep when it comes to what we call legalese. But that is one thing that I can attest to. I've seen it. I've been all around it. The judges are supposed to adhere to the law. They're supposed to be so engulfed in the law. They're supposed to be able to interpret it without prejudice or bias. As a matter of fact, that's the reason why they would have Lady Justice out as that statue, you know, the woman with the blindfold and the scale in her hand, and like she has a book or something, I want to say. But that's the whole symbol, is that justice, when it comes to that, is supposed to be blind. So you won't have a biased when it comes to listening to these cases. You hear the case, you see that person did this or are being accused of this and this and this, and these are the facts. These are what we can prove. This is what we can't prove. And the burden of proof falls on the person that's bringing the partition to the court. If they fail or is found to be a liar or any other version of the truth, then the court has systems and punishments and things like that in place to handle those things. But other than that, that's how the justice system's supposed to work. But we all know in these United States of America but Lady Justice is peeking up under that blindfold every now and then. And because she does that, people like R. Kelly and a lot of people of the Black culture fall victim to prejudices and biases of all kinds of things. And unfortunately, this is happening to one of our greatest musical genius, in my opinion. R. Kelly is a living legend, in my opinion. Has set the stage for hip hop and R&B throughout. And if you don't believe me, just follow his musical record, his musical history. It speaks for itself. So let's go ahead and finish this up. Thank y'all for hanging with me.
According to Ronald, there are in fact many instances R. Kelly's attorney Bonjean was unnecessarily interrupted, perhaps hoping to derail her from her points, but thankfully she always had her issues on her fingertips.
Yes.
She made the best presentation I have heard an attorney make, and for sure, if the appeal court is what it's said to be and that is a factory of justice, R. Kelly will survive this prejudice. Bonjean clearly stamped out the Rico charges and left them hanging without any support. She also successfully hammered the Mann Act violation claims. I guess if she had enough time to explain why the forced labor charges are false, she would have done a good job there as well, but what she said to a wise is in fact enough. R. Kelly is surely winning this appeal, and hopefully this will have his sentence slashed, or the entire case overturned. According to Robin McQueen, I am glad that R. Kelly has Bonjean as his lawyer, and I'm glad that God has given her the gift of being a good lawyer that knows her stuff. She is a blessing to R. Kelly. I'll hope when he gets those shackles off his feet that those women who helped put them on his feet, that he and Bonjean go after them and sue the hell out of them for the injustice, along with the wrong that they did to R. Kelly, which he didn't deserve. The government as well should be held accountable for their illegal actions. If you wish to take part in a live interview on this channel discussing any
Yes. Beautiful bow to put on it towards the end. Yes. His attorney, Bonjean, that he has an outstanding lawyer, guys. And I'm wishing her and R. Kelly all the best. Because like I said before in the previous video, these ladies in the government, man, they did a number on Mr. R. Kelly, and it was completely unfair. And you can even tell, some people, you can just tell that they are not going to swing, or they're not trying to hear a case fairly, because they already have those pre-notions already set in their head that this person is going to do their time no matter what, because I'm tired of, or because somebody in my family was, or whatever. And you can't not take your personal feelings into a court of law, period. In me having a law enforcement background, I carried that same mentality, as regardless as to who I came across, to how anybody lived their lifestyle in opposition of mine, or whatever the case may be, or whatever view points and stuff that they had about life, or any of those things. It had nothing to do as to why I was in their face. I was in their face because they broke and violated a law or had to be warned about something or whatever the case may be. I was in and I was out. And that's the way that the justice system is supposed to be set up. We are not here to harass the citizens of our community. We're not here to incarcerate and give unfair and overcharge the people in our society. The cruel and unusual punishment. That's what I was really trying to think of. You know, but unfortunately, we see these things all the time. So I'm glad that you stuck around. I hope that this was beneficial for you. Again, as we continue to watch what happens, we will share it. We will react to it. So with that being said, please do not forget, hit that like, share, subscribe, and that notification button for all up and coming and new videos. With that being said, we'll catch you on the other side. Thank you guys for watching.